on again, off again. And not to mention a contentious election cycle, which I don't know about you, but I will be thankful to get past Tuesday and on to the rest of the week. It's especially impacted agents who live alone and have limited contact with other people. And it's also been a stress for agents who are dealing with kids who are distance learning from home and maybe live in what has become a noticeably more cramped home environment. So those are kind of the two ends of the spectrum, people that don't have anybody around them and people that have many people around them in small quarters. So we have three guests with us today, hailing from all over the state of California. And I'd like to introduce Pam Buddha from Sonoma County Wine Country. Pam, say hello. Hi there.
Good morning, everybody. I'm in Sonoma County, and I live alone, although I have a 3.5-acre small farm and a horse who's coming home later today, and the dogs and cats. So all of that is beautiful and inspiring and helps keep me kind of inspired and motivated.
Nice.
My background is 20 years in the software industry and startups and senior sales and marketing role. So I work with a lot of tech buyers coming up from Silicon Valley and help them find their respite. And interestingly, 99% of my second home buyers are living in them full time and have been since March, even people who live in New York City normally. So that's been an interesting turn of events.
Absolutely. Quite a change in a lot of people's lives lately.
Yep.
We also have Bev Schwert with us from Marin County, our Greenbrae office. Bev, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I too live alone. I actually live in a condominium complex, so I see people around me regularly. My children are grown and live elsewhere. The family I grew up with lives on the East Coast. So friendships have been very important to me throughout this whole thing.
You've been in the business a long time as a real estate agent, is that correct?
Excuse me?
Said you've been a realtor for quite a while.
I've been an agent for 18.5 years.
Yep.
Yes. And I love it. I love it. And somehow I've been able to manage to get through this.
And that's what we're here to talk about today.
I know.
We also have Ana Macaronio from San Diego. Ana, welcome. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Ciao, everybody. My name is Anna. I am originally from Sicily, Italy, and I have been in the United States since I was 18. So it's been about 15 years. And I am here in San Diego. I actually ended up moving to downtown San Diego right in the middle of COVID because I wanted to be surrounded by things and sounds and people and everything that is, lovely about life.
And what is your personal circumstance in terms of your living situation?
I live by myself. I don't have any family here in the United States. So it's been definitely a challenge, but it's been one of those things that has allowed me to learn more about myself, what my strengths and what my weaknesses, and where I need to go back to work to do, go back to the drawing board and add more to my life.
Very nice. So we've talked an awful lot amongst ourselves and on these town halls about the business, and I do want to talk about the business, but I also want to focus on personal life and balance in life and business. And so what I would like to do is talk about the challenges that each of you have faced in managing life in real estate during what I've referred to as the on-again, off-again restrictions that we've been facing with the pandemic. So Bev, why don't we start with you? And if you could tell us a little bit about what the challenges have been for you personally.
Well, initially, I was miserable. I will say that. You couldn't show property, you couldn't look at property, you couldn't do anything. But in order to get over that, I really started to reach out to past clients, friends, sphere, anybody, whether it be a text, a call, a note. I wrote a lot of notes. All my notes were left in the office, and so I had to buy more notes, but that's okay. Because we weren't even able to go into the office. It was challenging. I had some very active buyers at the time, which was great. And as soon as it opened up, I did spend a lot of time showing property, thankfully. So I was able to get out. I'm forgetting the question.
Well, one thing that your words have prompted in me is it seemed my recollection of the start of the shelter-in-place restrictions was that I was stunned, and it took some time to come back around to the idea of how do I deal with this? How long was it before you started writing notes and making calls?
Exactly. I think we were all stunned. And I think we thought it would be over. I think we all thought that it was going to be a finite thing. And, little did we know. But I mean, I did a lot of things for myself personally. I walk every day like crazy. And I go in the morning and I generally go in the afternoon too. I mean, initially during all of this, I was doing like 25,000 steps a day. It's not quite that much now, but it helped clear my head, and it helped, for me to just get out and see people, even along the walk. But I don't like not being able to look at homes. I totally miss broker tour. It's hard, you look at all the new listings online, it's like, well, that doesn't really mean anything to me without being able to see it in person. So I don't know if others have felt that challenge, but I certainly have. But I've got to say, after the first couple of months, I relaxed. I relaxed a little bit. I bought a chair that I kept in the trunk of my car. When I went to go visit people, I would sit in my chair. And my daughter is a nurse, and she said, you got to live life. So I started living life more.
Socially distant.
And working. I think time blocking has been something I've tried to do. It's harder because of everything that I'm trying to do it, to reach out.
You have a very special circumstance. You moved to the country to be in the country, to be kind of away. What special challenges have you faced? Because you live on a property that is not immediately adjacent to the next home, and so what's that been like?
Well, I have actually gotten pretty close to my neighbors. I can see them. I'm not so remote, and it's actually vastly more convenient here than when I lived in the East Bay. So just have more space around me, which is a lot of work and a lot to take care of. So sometimes I want to move into a condo. So I don't think that really has been isolating per se. It's a lifestyle that's enjoyable and nourishing and so forth. Gosh, I've done, I was stunned also at the beginning, like Beverly, just kind of, especially when we weren't considered essential business. That was kind of really shocking. So I got into action mode and explored all the different relief programs and stuff just to be prepared in case. And then really got rolling, I think, what is it, in May, when we were allowed to start showing properties we were essential again in early May. So oddly, I had made an offer and had a signed offer for an assistant. She was due to start on March 18th, which I think was the first full day of the shelter in place here. And she was wonderful. She was very flexible and agreed to defer her start until we could actually do something. So she started May 4th, and that's been a challenge because she's, doesn't work here. She has kids at home, but they're older, so it's not as hard on her as it would be for people with younger children. But that's been an adjustment, and it hasn't gone as smoothly, as I would like, as if the plan was that she was going to be in my office, for several hours every day, Monday through Friday, and that hasn't happened. So we've had to be creative. And she's never worked remotely. I've worked remotely my entire career in software, or most of it, and in real estate since 2003. So that's been an adjustment. I'm not sure I answered your question either.
you are surrounded by, you mentioned that you have some animals living there with you.
Right.
What kind of animals have you got?
I've got 2 Vizslas who are hopefully going to stay quiet. You know, and I've got a couple of horses. Both of them have been boarded at a facility down the road since the fire season. I'm bringing one home today. Having my main riding horse at a barn was a tremendous social outlet. So particularly in the early part of the pandemic, I was riding 5 days a week and taking lessons, and that was my sanity maintenance device because it was social. You know, it was just really, it was fun. It was at exercise and rewarding. That's been a great, that really helped me stay sane.
You know, one of the things that we heard early on in the shelter in place period was that the animal shelters were emptying out, that people were taking animals into their homes. And I had everything to do with having another being there with you and somebody to pay attention to, somebody pays attention to you. And I think that in many ways, sometimes animals are can be friendlier and easier to get along with than other people. But in any case, let's turn now to Anna. And I would, you also have a special circumstance because you are in a country away from where you originated. Do you have family locally, or do you at all?
No, I don't have any family here in the United States. Everybody's back home in Italy. Some people are in the north by Milan, where, you know, really was the epicenter of this whole situation. And some other family members, like my mom, my dad, are down in Sicily. So I would like to say that for me, this entire year has been in like sections. There is the beginning of the pandemic that is affecting my life. It was terrible because I remember right when it started, I had 3 escrows. They all pulled out. One of them did not qualify, and the other 2 just got way too scared and pulled out. So I found myself without an income for almost 6 months. That affected me greatly. And that is the reality of it. Not everybody has this, you know, huge success story from the get-go, you know. And the challenge there was being able to encourage myself and see the light, because that's the one thing I really learned from this. It's so hard to manage your thoughts when everything around you is just like, I know, you know. I had a dog. My dog was 15, was Pomeranian. I had to put her down right in the midst of the pandemic, right in the midst of all this. So it was just, I felt like the world was crashing down on me. And to be honest with you, the first week when it was all announced and Italy was shutting down, that's when I felt it. I felt it so much. And, you know, when you go into a lot of stress, your body tries to adjust, you know, and, you know, you get tummy aches and you get headaches. And then I was like, you know, I kind of started to develop new ways to cope with it. I bought a sewing machine. I taught myself how to sew because I didn't know how to sew. So that was really encouraging to learn that. I paint. I don't know if you can see from my background, but I like getting my creative mind and applying those new ideas that I had in my head into something that stimulated me to just wanting to push forward. So I started to make myself little vision boards, because usually you make vision boards for the year, like a 12-month window. I started to make myself vision boards for the week, like one little step at a time. So I would at least check mark things for every week, you know, and one of those things was getting back in touch with my past clients, checking on other people, just as simply as saying like, hey, how are you guys? Like, how is this affecting you? And then there was also like the middle of the pandemic for me, where I was like, okay, let me reevaluate everything, because the things that are making me happy right now are going on walks, meditating in the morning, talking with people. Even if I don't see them, I can still, video chat them, FaceTime them. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to move a little bit more central to where if this shutdown keeps going, I can at least be closely to close to everything. And that's what I did. That's why I decided to move downtown, because I am literally 2 blocks from, Seaport. I am close to everything. I don't even have to take my car some days when I don't have any showings. So it was just like figuring out, coming up with solutions, and honestly, shutting down the TV. I don't even have cable. I stopped watching YouTube news. That was huge, huge for me. And then once you start to actually be vulnerable and put things out there through social media, I was a very inspired by the feedback that I was getting, because a lot of people were coming to me and asking me questions like, how are you doing this? I know you're alone. Don't you miss your family? I don't know how you do this by yourself. Like, trust me, it's a work in progress, but it's like, managing your thoughts and staying encouraged through it and finding solution, and also implementing a routine that works for you. So for me, I found that waking up at 5 a.m. every morning is huge. If I wake up like at 7 o'clock, I'm done. That day is already slower. But if I wake up at 5 a.m., I'm at the gym by 7 o'clock, I am done with my workout, done with my meditation, then I can start working. And then my whole day is just different. And also going to bed like around 9:30, 10 o'clock, it works for me. It's just like implementing those new things that can really help you. And I recently started taking bachata lessons at night. And I know I'm trying everything. Like, why not just go for it? And I've been blessed. All the energy that I kind of turned and pushed back and, decided to focus on is attracting new clients. So this is such a tricky business, because the moment that you start to believe your thoughts, like, oh, this sucks, I'm not doing well, I'm financially, struggling, and this and that, it's the moment that you start attracting just that, more of that, more of that. So also I have to say a huge thank you to my mentor, Amy Green. She's our broker, and she was just amazing to have, and like dripped little things here and there, like, hey, try to do this, just stay encouraged, read this book. She would send me motivational, like, daily videos, stuff like that, and that really helped. So just mentors that, surround yourself with mentors that know more than you, that can improve you and can really impart new things into your life. And then by doing different things, you get to meet different people, and that's the whole point of even being in real estate. How do you get new business? Not by doing the same exact thing. It's also by, surrounding yourself by a different environment if you want different results, right?
Anna, we had a comment from the viewers that said that shutting down TV and Facebook was a blessing for them as well, that it brought them some sanity as well. One of the things I thought I would mention is that my wife and I, Kathy, had talked about the differences between this pandemic and the last major world pandemic, the 1918 flu pandemic. And one of the things there's many similarities. If you read about the 1918 pandemic, you see many similarities, including people pushing for masks, people shaming people for wearing masks, trying to come to terms with, hey, it's over, when then there's a second wave. A lot of very similar things taking place now to what happened in the flu pandemic. One of the things that's very interesting, though, is we curse all these Zoom calls and being online, but they didn't have an online option in 1918. And people who were alone, and they could only interact with people around them, and they had the same issues of social distancing then that we have now. Anyway, I thought that was very interesting, and trying to put in a plug for the fact that we communicate as much as we do online. I would love to hear about maybe what the biggest challenges have been, both practically in terms of business, but also in terms of, staying sane. And we've heard a couple of comments, but I'd love to hear some more about what the actual challenges have been and how you've overcome some of those challenges. Pam, you want to take that one? I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think, it's been like, this is operated in phases. At the beginning, I think I certainly got very manic about activity and, zillions of Zoom calls with clients, with friends, cocktails on Zoom. Um, Too much. It was too much. It was like trying, it was just overkill. And I think I got Zoom fatigue like a lot of people. Um, and I found that I kind of go through waves where I generally am productive and feeling okay, and then it'll just hit me how insane all of this is. And you get a little bit down, and it's kind of like riding waves of that. So it just sort of comes and goes, and I just deal with it. I meditate. I was doing a little bit of journaling and writing some affirmations and stuff, which was really helpful. I don't watch TV news ever. I read a lot of press online, but I don't watch videos of news. I don't have notifications on my device except for phone calls and texts. But I was doing that before. Initially, I was having these amazing conversations with people, people from my past, people, clients, and, this is when we were really locked down, and you'd have half-hour, 45-minute conversations that got very deep very quickly. And that was really fun. I mean, that was amazing. I think everybody was just so slowed down. They had more time to actually do things like that. That's changed, as we've all gotten back to work, or many of us have gotten back to work. So over the summer, I had sort of regular get-togethers with friends and clients, at socially distanced in somebody's backyard, in my backyard, where we'd all bring our own food and wine and, hang out. That's sort of petered down lately. So I'm kind of looking at that, it's like, I'm not sure what that's about, if that's me, if that's people in general, if it's everybody's stressed out about the election or exactly what. So it's just like maybe the third phase of it for me personally. I'm still trying to figure that out. I did do pop-bys, delivered Mother's Day flowers to a lot of clients in my database, and we would leave stuff at people's doorstep and, text them a picture of it. And some of them I interacted with socially distantly over a gate or something like that. I'm supposed to have a big client party in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks from yesterday, which I've done every year. This would be the 7th year. But I'm really struggling with whether I'm going to do that. It was a Thanksgiving pie party where I have 90 people routinely. So trying to decide how to reinvent that. It's just not clear to me. I tend to be an overachiever and want to get things done. And I figure I could do it in a socially distant way, but the last thing I want to do is create a super spreader event, as things get worse in the country. So it's not there's not a one even steady state. There's waves of pluses and waves of, I wouldn't say so much negative, but less, it's challenging.
One of the things that I found very encouraging for Halloween was I walked through the neighborhood and people were very creative about how they were dealing with Halloween. I saw people, I live in a neighborhood that is very hilly, and I saw people with chutes that they had set up to deliver candy to passerbys at the bottom of the chute. And so they would take either a bag of candy or a piece of candy and they would drop it in and it would go down the chute and somebody would have their bag right there and they'd catch the candy. And talk about socially distanced. I mean, they were 30 feet apart, but the candy was getting delivered. And I didn't see as many teenagers out, but I saw plenty of kids out that were safely trying to enjoy something that, kids really look forward to. So it was great to see the creativity. Bev, can you talk to us a little bit about what were the major challenges that you faced and some of the ways that you got around some of the issues that you faced when you started actively dealing with shelter in place?
Well, the major challenges were not seeing people, because at first we really didn't see anybody. I'm a very social person. I probably have about 8 pods. I mean, and maybe that's not the safest thing to do, but I'm seeing people and I'm going out, and initially I did not. And I mean, it's my own sanity, to tell you the truth. If I don't, if I'm not happy, I can't work well. Okay. And in fact, every evening I have a journal um, where I write 3 things that made me happy that day. At least 3 things. I have to find something. And I mean, at the beginning of this pandemic, you should have seen me when I went to the grocery store for the first time. I wore like a slicker, a mask, glasses, gloves. I mean, I looked like a freak. Not everybody was looking like that. I was paranoid. And then, I don't know, something, I guess groups of friends would invite me to be with them, and we would socially distance. That's what the chair is for, you know, in their yards. Or my birthday was in April. I remember Lisa Parati coming over, bringing me lunch, and we sat in my parking lot. You know, it little by little, I've done more. I think we're going to be in this for quite a while, and it will be interesting to see what happens this winter. You know, I mean, I'm not quite ready to go inside and eat in a restaurant, but I've eaten outside, and you know, it's going to get cold. So, I again, and I miss my coworkers. Oh my God. I've been going into the office more just because I want to see people, but no one's really in there, you know, and just to do a little bit. I really miss my coworkers. The group that we have in Greenbrae is phenomenal. I mean, we really are a team. We help each other out. We aren't working against each other at all. And I miss, you know, we have our 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday market discussion and things like that, where we get to see each other, but it's not the same.
Yeah. You mentioned pods, and I'd like to go back to that and talk to each of you about pods. I know that my sister-in-law, who has 3 kids, has set up strict pods with other kids so that the kids get to interact with each other and so that they have some social contact, because I think for kids it's particularly hard not having social contact. They don't know how to deal with it. They're not used to it at all. But my wife and I formed a pod with my daughter and son-in-law, and it was a pretty strict pod, and we were all agreed to rules as to who everybody in the pod could see, and we would run things by each other. But for me, that was huge, because we would eat dinner twice, and we still do, twice a week. And that created some social contact. You mentioned pods, Bev. What kind of pods have you been a part of?
Well, my friend Lisa Parati through work and some other people with that. I'm a member of Rotary, so there are a couple of different groups of people that I've gotten together with through Rotary. Through the Kentfield schools, I know people and women that I've hiked with and socially distanced with in backyards. So there's overlap. You know, this is what I'm saying. I've relaxed. I admit it. Maybe you don't want to be around me.
Well, you know, one of the
But I've got to live. This is what I'm saying. It's for my own mental health. My neighbor, Barbara, she's 84 years old. Every day I go over there and I sit socially distanced from her, and we talk for like 45 minutes. She's someone that would used to travel like 6 times a year. She's going nuts. And, you know, just to try to help her out a little bit. So am I answering your question?
No, that was good. I appreciate that. Anna, have you formed any pods? Are you in a pod?
I wasn't sure what a pod was, but I'm assuming
Pod
it's a group.
like a group of people that agree to see each other but not others, so that they restrict contact with the outside world and still stay safe and can still interact personally with somebody close.
Yes. Yeah. So early on, I reached out and put together a women walking group. So we would socially distance, but walk minimum 4 to 12 miles per day, every day. And while we were walking, we were catching up with everybody. And so it really helped out a lot.
Great. Pam, any pod formation in your life?
Not intentional pods in the sense that you're discussing, although I have one group of friends in Sebastopol who we're getting together every couple of weeks and sitting in somebody's backyard and, divvying up the food or bringing our own food and drink and sitting, 6 to 8 feet apart outdoors. I have one elderly mother of a client of mine. They live about a block away from me. And we haven't gotten together often in person, but we celebrated Easter together on Zoom. And Fern and I have been talking every day. We have every day spoken for about a half an hour in the evenings, which is nice for me to sort of at the end of the day go, hey, how was your day? What did you do? And, we talk politics and all kinds of, we've had some amazing conversations. So, and now we're like determined to keep our streak going. We had no idea it was going to be going this many months. It's kind of crazy, but the streak is unbroken. I'm going to actually watch the election with her tomorrow night. Hopefully we get some resolution there, but so we're, being very careful about how we approach that. So we watched it 4 years ago. So it's kind of, we have to do it, and so, and I have other friends in, let's say, Healdsburg that I get together to eat with fairly regularly. However, they have different, they seem a little more cavalier than I am, because with one of them in particular, she doesn't have much outdoor space. So we've been getting together. I've gotten together, I think, twice inside her house with people, 2 or 3 people, and that doesn't feel really comfortable to me. So I'm kind of wrestling with that because I really want to see them. So it's difficult.
Yeah, one of the very difficult things about this is, first of all, varying information about what's safe and what's unsafe. Also, varying degrees of restrictions depending on where each of us live. I live in San Francisco in the Bay Area, and the Bay Area has been particularly strict in terms of guidelines and rules. But I see and hear, for instance, I think it's a little more lax, or it has been up in Lake Tahoe. And I think a lot of Bay Area people have been going up into Lake Tahoe to get away from the city. And so then it gets very crowded there. And I think the local folks probably don't really like that too much because it gets so crowded that it's just like being in a city. And that's what everybody's trying to avoid. I also think Southern California and San Diego might have been a little less restrictive at times than, but the real question is, one of the things I've been reading in the news is that there's a spike going on. And people predicted it many months ago that as we got into the fall and winter, that there would be a spike. So my question is, how careful do you intend to be going forward? Bev, you want to take a tackle at that?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm not ready to eat inside a restaurant, even though they let us, and I really haven't been in other people's homes. I'm going to watch it more, I think, because of the possible spike. And I think that just even the weather is going to make us be home more. If you know what I mean.
Melinda comments that, what are we going to do? The weather has been very forgiving. What are we going to do when the weather is not as forgiving?
Exactly. I would still like to bundle up and get my chair out of the trunk of my car and go talk with people. You know what I mean? It's like, I still want to do that. I don't want to stop doing that. I might not be able to eat or something, and that's fine. I just want, initially when I got together with people, we brought our own food. We wouldn't even share food. And then I've got friends that have a pool. And so the first couple of times and there were like 10 of us, and it's a nice place in Kentfield. And so we were all distanced, and we had our own food. And then they kind of laxed up and, they made burgers or something the next time. I mean, it's interesting how that has changed over time. I don't know how others have dealt with that, but the sharing of the food is happening more now than it did. I mean, did anybody, was anybody real strict about the,
Some of my friends have been very strict about it. They tend to be a little older. Others are completely lax about it. So I think I'm somewhere in between, you know.
yeah, I think we're in for it this winter. I don't know.
Well, there's
I
a lot more.
have that attitude. I want to be positive.
There's
I
a lot.
mean,
Yes.
but we've got to do the best we can as we go along. I think, we can't, and we have to keep our mental health. You
Right.
keep hearing more and more about people having these mental health problems. It's no wonder, but you got to kind of talk yourself into being happy and doing things to make you happy. And that's what
I think that's critical of finding the things that keep you motivated and happy.
Right.
I mean, I know I'm just over here watching, but I mean, I will say that for me, staying busy, staying active with work is really important.
Yeah.
As busy as it is for my team right now as we grow, but it does keep us connected. We have at least 2 or 3 meetings a week and we do a lot of check-in. One of the things that is important for my team is wellness. We make sure everyone's, if you need a little time, we'll cover it for you. So we have that team environment. I think that's important when we think about across the spectrum with agents and with management. We are still all a team, and if you need to lean on somebody, do it, because they're going to need you at some point as well. I also think I'm going to echo what Anna said, is creativity. For me, it's music. I still go to my studio at least a couple of times a week so I can play. I have one other person that we agree that we kind of have a pod situation as well. We'll get together and work in the studio together. But that took 3 months before we felt comfortable to be able to do that.
So, honest, you were talking about, HUD was mentioning that you were talking about creativity. So in the latest spike that's made the news, are you feeling like you need to be more careful and you're going to get back into language and arts?
Yes. So actually there has been, yes, there is always that hesitation, especially right now. There's a whole lot more people that are getting infected every day. It's being able to come up with the solution before the problem arises again. So like I told you, I have been painting. So I don't always get inspired. Like that's actually a painting of lemons. And the reason why I painted, there is a reason why I painted lemons, okay? But if I don't have that sort of inspiration, you know what does it for me? I push myself to walk outside. So my thing is, after you get back from the gym or after you get back from your walk, just put in some makeup, just put yourself in a presentable way that makes you feel more confident and just go out there. Even if you're literally, I do the same thing as Beverly and Pam were both saying, bring your chair in the car. And I mean, we can work from anywhere. That's the beauty of this career choice, is that you can literally pull up your laptop, hook up to your hotspot and work from the beach, the mountain, or whatever you want, as long as you keep working. You do something every day. You do, like I come up with different social media ideas every week. I have my hours where I just create content. I create videos for my YouTube channel, stuff like that. That really helps. And then also, I told you I found my new love with bachata lessons, and we're socially distanced. So we don't touch each other. We're just each in our own dot. They have little dots on the floor, and nobody touches or get too close. But when the shutdown was happening, people were still Zooming and bachata dancing from their homes. So being able to at least have that group of people that now I know it's going to be, it's going to be weird, but still it's better than nothing,
And you mentioned something that I think is really pretty critical, for at least for me it was, which is to get up like it's a normal day and get dressed and go through your routine, just like you're going out of the house, even though you may not be going out of the house. For me, that feels like you entering the day and being a part of the day, instead of being glum and sitting around in PJs in the house.
Well, and have fun with Zoom backgrounds. You can be anywhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I think we're getting close to a wrap up. I will say that we got a couple of comments. One comment was that this is a timely conversation because the winter season and colder temperatures are coming. And this is, I think, a good idea. We need to mentally prepare for the fact that we're going to keep doing this for a little while, probably. And so I think I think coming to terms with that instead of being in denial over that is probably a good thing. And anyway,
To your point, Randall, there's a couple comments about people reaching out and using technology like they didn't have in the Spanish flu pandemic to keep in touch around the world with friends and family. Also comment, thanks so much for everyone on the panelists for being here and sharing. So many of us are having a hard time. It means so much to me that you're sharing your experiences. So just a shout out to the panelists thanks for putting yourselves out there. Teresa from South Lake Tahoe is commenting that if we do find ourselves in another lockdown, it could be a fun idea to have regular idea sharing meetings. Absolutely.
I like that.
And Dan's question is, and this is really just a FYI for everybody that's putting in a chat. You have an opportunity to select panelists and all attendees. So try to select all attendees so that we can keep the dialogue going. Because often, you know, the first comment is just going to go to us. That's why Matthew is reading those back.
Yeah. I just was, you know, I think we can take something positive from this pandemic. There probably will be a number of things in retrospect, but the fact that people are willing to share and be vulnerable in a professional environment, I think that's healthy. I think we can all learn a lot from each other, and I'm actually really, so I think that this is a plus, and I think this is a great topic. Kind of surprised me when Heidi told me the topic last week, but I think it's a great idea.
Well, I really super appreciate everybody sharing here. I had other panelists or prospective panelists that I talked to that might have been very valuable for us to have on and talk with today. But for some of them, it was a topic that was a little too close to home, and it was hard to get on a panel and share about it. So I really appreciate the three of you being willing to join in and share.
Happy to.
It means a lot.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure, truly.
Definitely a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Stay happy and healthy and motivated. And we'll try to do some things that keep us in touch with each other with some creative ideas.
Wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.